I was standing in the hallway outside my parents' study when I heard my father say my name like it was a problem that needed fixing. Not loved, not protected, fixed. "She's going to embarrass us," he said. My mother laughed. And then my brother said the words that changed everything. "The wedding is the perfect stage. Everyone will be there." I didn't breathe. I didn't move. I just stood there holding the small velvet box I had spent months preparing, realizing the people who raised me were planning to break me on the one day I thought was sacred. For most of my life, I believed love was something you earned by being quiet, useful, and impressive enough to justify your existence. In my family, affection wasn't freely given. It was awarded like a medal after careful inspection. And no matter how hard I tried, I could never wear the right uniform in my father's eyes. The irony wasn't lost on me. I was a major in the United States Army. I had worn a uniform for nearly 15 years, stood in deserts and on flight lines before dawn, boots coated in dust, spine straight even when my knees shook. I had led soldiers younger than my brother. I had been responsible for lives. But to my family, none of that counted. They wanted lawyers, executives, people whose success could be measured in square footage and stock options, people whose achievements looked good in Christmas letters and country club conversations. Daniel, my fiancé, was everything my family wasn't: calm, steady, unbothered by titles. When he asked me to marry him, he didn't use fireworks or speeches. He simply said, "I choose you, every version of you." And for someone like me, that felt like oxygen. When I returned home that week, jet-lagged from overseas, the house was exactly as it had been when I was 18, pristine, museum clean, like no one actually lived there. My father nodded at my uniform briefly. "You're late," he said. "I came straight from the airport," I replied. "We'll have to keep things efficient then," he said, already turning away. Efficient. That was his favorite word. My mother handed me a list the moment I set my bag down. Rehearsal dinner speeches, nothing overly personal, pointed look included. I nodded, swallowing the familiar sting. What they didn't know was that I had been preparing something quietly for months, something deeply personal, not for Daniel, but for them. Then I heard it. "This is exactly why she shouldn't be center stage," my father said. "She insists on making everything about her service," my mother replied. "It's not appropriate for a wedding," Mark laughed. I felt my hand grip the doorframe. "We'll frame it as concern," my father continued. "People respect honesty," my mother added. "The wedding gives us an audience." The word audience made my stomach drop. One step closer, just one, not to spy, not to hear, but to realize that whatever came next would change how I saw my family forever. They weren't worried about me, they were worried about how I made them look. Everything I had done, every deployment, every sacrifice, they wanted to hide, to control, to manipulate. I didn't stop. I grabbed my bag and slipped out of the house without saying goodbye, the cold air biting into my lungs. I drove aimlessly, letting my thoughts settle. Daniel's text came. "Everything okay?" I typed. "Long day." Yes, long, and this was only the beginning. When I reached our apartment, Daniel held me, jaw set, eyes steady. "Tell me," he said, and I did. Every detail of the study door, the speeches, the slides, the calculated plan. He listened without interrupting. "I'm sorry," he said. "Not because of them, because you had to hear it." And I realized that the gift I had prepared for my family, all the letters, commendations, photographs, and mementos, wasn't really for them. It was for the version of myself that still needed approval. The morning of the wedding arrived quietly. No cinematic sunrise, no swelling music, just light, quiet, ordinary. I was calm, steady, clear. The ceremony was simple, honest. Daniel's vows were real, heartfelt. I didn't look at my parents, I didn't need to. At the reception, I enforced the boundaries I had set. No additional speeches, no slides, no humiliations. The room breathed. My father shifted, preparing himself. The coordinator stopped him politely. "That portion of the program is complete," she said. I stood, grounded, slow, certain. "This is our day. And we're grateful to everyone here to celebrate with us." That was it. No anger, no drama, just